Okay, so welcome back, and we're on now. On this episode, we're going to be looking at our full scouting pool for the first time. Now, I think at the moment, we will just be looking at the players, picking them up. We haven't really committed to the sort of tactical system we want to play yet. I think we want to have a bit of just flexibility for now, pretty much, because we want to create videos and content basically and be able to talk about stuff. And if we're just going to wait like 10 to 20 days to get enough players of all the right exact types we want for a specific tactic, then we're not going to really be able to create much content that's useful. So for now, I think we will just focus on just getting players that are generally going to be useful for sort of hopefully have a bit of tactical flexibility for different types of systems, and we will try to create tactical systems based off of the players that we have at any given moment. So maybe for now we will end up playing a few different type of tactics, but over time we will sort of focus in towards a set system. I mean, ultimately, if you want to compete at higher levels in the game, you are going to need to have players that do players and tactics and everything that gel together and work together and to try to be optimal if you want to compete at the higher levels. But for where we are now, we don't need, that's not necessary basically in order to compete at this level. We just need to do stuff that makes sense pretty much. Just make some good decisions about the players that we pick up and just do stuff that generally makes a bit of sense. So this guy here, I mean, he's kind of fantastic. To be honest, I think the downside of this guy for us is just, I mean, absolutely, like, he would be great in games. But it's a huge amount of money. I don't think we have that much money. We'd have to play a bunch of our matches first to get the cash injection. And his wages are huge. It doesn't make sense for us as a financial proposition. He would definitely help us win or whatever, but for now, we're more focused on building towards the future than to, So it's interesting. Interesting though. Like he's really good. So, yep. This player, I think we did pick. I think there's a couple things. So one, we're just generally not interested in older players on high wages, even if they are cheaper, as a general rule. And in particular, we don't really need strikers because we bought this one player that we bought from the scouting pool before was a striker, and we got a striker we're happy with in our starting squad. So it's probably the one area where we don't really need players as well. At the moment for striker, we can pretty much just wait until we get stuff that is like ticks a lot of boxes. I think in particular, if we're going to pick up more strikers, it'll probably be ones that can also play in our under 21 squad for now as well, our youth team. Probably this player, I mean maybe, but again it's just this high wages, high buy price, and yeah, he's not as old, but he's still pretty old. Like it's not going to make sense, I don't think, for us from a long-term perspective. And again, for this player, just again, it's just too much money to invest in the wages and stuff. This player, again, just high wages. It doesn't really make sense. I think for this, it's a little bit different if there was a player that this is really cheap, so you have, and the wages aren't too crazy high. So if this guy was like world class, like really awesome, or something that we had our squad more built out, and we just would like missing that one player or one or two players that want to really allow us to play the type of tactic we want to play for now. There are reasons why we might buy an older player on around this type of wage for this type of purchase price, but we're not quite at that. Like not this guy basically, because he's not that awesome, and we don't know exactly we're missing more than one or two pieces at the moment. So this is a better example. So this guy is pretty awesome. So maybe we might end up picking him up. We'll have a look if we end up. So yeah, I mean he's just really good. Like he's fast enough, quite fast, really good tackling, good marking, good aerial ability. It's everything we kind of want from a centre half. Yeah, he's going to get worse in the wages and whatnot, but he is 62,000. Like, so this guy is like maybe we get him. You know, maybe it's a stopgap, and let's say, for example, we get him and sell him. Because we don't know, for example, how the stopgap might last, because the stopgap is basically the stopgap until we get a centre half that we're happy with. Now, that might be 3 days, it might be 10 days, it might be 30 days, we don't know. Now, in the example where it's 3 days, this really hasn't cost us very much. We're just paying 3 days of wages, so this is 600,000 a month. So, what's that, 20,000 a day. Plus the 60,000, and you pay the signing fee, but we'll get 75% of that back, sort of thing. So it's really not that much. If we end up using him versus a few days, we're paying something like maybe £100,000. If we end up using him for a whole season, it's kind of like £600,000. If it's in between, it's going to scale in between. So it's not much. Basically, we may be looking, all things considered, spending something like £100,000 or £200,000 to get something that allows us to really solidify our tactic and understand if everything's working or not. This could make sense. So this is exactly the type of situation that may make sense. Now, this is dependent on whether we basically need a centre half or not. So we'll decide that at the end, but maybe to this guy. I can't quite remember how bad our goalkeeper is, to be honest. Let's just have a quick look. Oh, he was okay. Right, our keeper was one that was okay. So I think as far as the goalkeeper situation is, we want a good one to act on that. And this guy might be alright. He's got some interest. He's an interesting combination of things, but we're not using wingers. I don't think... I'm just looking to... We do have the one position that we can retrain. I don't think it's... if we had 3 of them, if they weren't such a scarce resource for us, maybe we would use one for this guy as a AMC, maybe, because he's got really like good combination of skills for AMC. It's very interesting. I mean, maybe we. Yeah, I mean, this guy's pretty interesting in a lot of ways. I think, I'm just not sure, because we only really get one chance at it, and it's, well, day one, pretty much. So I feel like a better opportunity will come than this guy. But if he was an AMC, we probably would just pick him up. We probably will end up buying this guy, just really... really well-rounded, really solid. You know, pros and cons all over the place. For example, his marking is a bit low, but great positioning. You know, passing, tackling. The vision is a bit down. Like, his ups and downs, but on the whole, you know, for the price outlay and whatnot, I think he would definitely make sense. I'm just going to quickly go back to my squad and check my centre half that we are running. So yeah, he's definitely an upgrade over that guy. What I'm going to do, I think that one in particular is let's just finish the process in case there is another DMC. I ordered it by overall. I probably should have ordered it by position. So then at least when we could have seen all the DMCs and known that, because I'm looking down the rest of the list. Okay, there is more DMCs. So probably should have done it that way, but we're already halfway through now. So let's continue this way. He's interesting again. A bit slower or whatever, but yeah. Alright, he's interesting. Let's just check out. I think our MCs weren't horrible though. Yeah. So he's a maybe. Was it that guy? Yeah, he's quite interesting. He's really, really well rounded. Kind of matters what style of football we want to play. But I think, unfortunately, there's kind of two philosophical directions where you sort of, if you want to play like a slower, a faster tempo, then you want players to generally be faster and better in the sort of contesting balls and stuff. And dribbling and stronger to win the duels and better aerial ability. You want a lot of the more contesting type skills to be higher. Or you want to go the other way where you're happy to retain possession a bit more, but you want the passing and the vision and stuff to be higher. So I feel like this guy could be quite suited to the latter, but the issue that he's got is that his passing and vision isn't that great. But maybe, here's a maybe. Winger. Yeah, he's quite well rounded as well. I think the downside of this guy, probably, quite frankly, is just his price. We probably would just buy him if he was much cheaper, but you know, this guy, if he was cheaper, we will probably just buy him because I quite like it's just generally well rounded and useful. We can do things with this player. He's got decent enough passing, whatever, for that retaining possession. He's got decent enough goal scoring attributes that, you know, that he would, if he gets good chances, he would be able to score. He's got good stuff. Maybe we will buy him if we need him desperately, but yeah, a bit expensive. This guy's super nice for you know, really young. I mean, young and cheap for how good he is. And just can dribble, is fast, and yeah, he's deficient in ways, but for the, you know, it's not super low crossing or finishing. A lot of this stuff is like, it's not high obviously, but it's not like there is still a massive difference between having like 17 or something in crossing and having 40, or that, or, you know, in passing and tackle. Like, he could be able to do a job at our level, and he's got monstrous physical attributes, save the strength, but no, yeah, I think again it's the issue that he's we don't want to play the AML and AMR, and again with the retraining, I don't think this guy's really suited to any other position either. So unfortunately, we'll have to give a pass on that one. Even though if we were going to play wingers, we probably would just pick him up. Right. Okay, so this guy is cheaper, and yeah, what's this guy? So he's definitely better than this guy. So yeah, just that passing and vision is lower. Yeah, okay, but he's quite well rounded. Maybe we will end up getting him. ML, yeah, he's 21. He's a bit expensive. I don't think he will. If he was super cheap, maybe, but I think he's just not good enough at certain things. So the dribbling is too low. He'd have to be like a sort of a real defensive left midfielder, and his tackling just isn't high enough to be that either. So, probably not. Probably not. I mean, he could be alright if we desperately needed a left back for our youth team, but if we're gonna get a player like that, I would rather just get a younger player, basically. And in particular, the contract lengths are longer when you. The younger a player is, if you sign them, so there is a difference between getting them at like 20 versus 21. As you basically your contract length is 3 seasons, but then they will be for the season you sort of buy them and 2 more. But if you get a 21-year-old, it'll be the season you buy them and 3 more, so you keep them 24. And then as you get younger, you get to keep them for 1 year older and older and older. So contract lengths for can be super long, basically, if you get them at 16 or for your graduates. So it's a huge difference. As you get for 21, it's 4 seasons, but as you get 20 is 6 seasons, for example. So it's 2 sort of seasons extra, but obviously they're 1 year younger. So those 2 seasons in the end means that you keep them until they're 1 year older, basically. I mean, I don't know, maybe a bit of winger, so I'm not even gonna care too much. I think just too slow to bother with. This guy, I don't know, maybe I like the aerial ability and the speed. Obviously the tackling is low, but the marking is decent. It's quite interesting. I was just going to check if the tackling has, if he's got on the training option, if he's got the tackling, he has, and it's both 0. So it's kind of like that's what it is. I mean, to be honest, if this guy was at 2 million, I'm not going to buy him. But if he was cheaper, cheap, I probably would just pick him up, because I think we can make a tactic that sort of works with, takes advantage of his speed, but doesn't have him sort of attempting many tackles as the centre half, and the fact that he could contribute massively to the set pieces and he can mark. So basically he would avoid the tackles. He would be focusing on sweeping up the through balls, the loose balls and stuff, and marking players, sort of thing, trying to focus around that. I think we could make that work. It's quite a limitation, though, to be honest, that 52, for sure in the lower levels we could absolutely make that work, but it's quite a limitation. We would for sure roll with it if he was cheaper, but at 2.058 million, I'm really not sure at all. I feel like we'll get better opportunities pretty much at that type of price over time. This guy, maybe. Yeah, he's just a solid maybe. I think for us there is a decision about if we go on to play left and right midfielders or not, and what type of tactic do we want. Ones that are more attacking left and right midfielders, more defensive ones, or ones that are sort of expected to do a lot of both? Or are they going to be hugging the wing and crossing, or are they going to be cutting in? What do we want from these? Because as you can see, they're always this. They can, this guy, for example, he's not going to be good at defending, but going forwards he's okay, at least in regards to moving forwards a bit and dribbling and crossing and sort of passing in and stuff like that's all fine. But if we want him to sort of cut in a bit, he's not great at that. He doesn't have the long shots. So yeah, he's interesting. He's a maybe. He's quite a bit there to work with, to be honest. So this guy, he has the benefit that he can play in under 21s as well this season. Yeah, again, just a solid maybe. I think the solid maybe. The thing is just this isn't, you're sort of saying that this is he's 21, right? So if you compare to we would sort of be, this is 5 seasons, or 4 and a bit seasons or whatever of development from 16. So you sort of thinking getting an academy trial graduate and then pick what is effectively 13 sets of training options from the starting attributes. We're pretty confident we'll end up with an MC better than this. So now, but obviously we got to wait a long time to get to there. So, so I don't know, maybe, basically. Again, very, yeah, maybe. I mean, they would form a pretty solid central midfield pairing in the for under 21s, but I don't know if we want to blow £1 million plus $500,000 in wages a season for these players that basically would just help our youth team for the training league season, and then that's it. They'll be too old, so and they're probably not going to be good enough for our seniors really going forwards. Probably, so not sure about them. This guy, I think we we might get him. We might get this guy. I quite like. I feel like there's kind of enough to work with here. Like, he isn't lightning fast, but he is fast, like fast enough. He's got high endurance and enough natural fitness that you shouldn't need to ever sub him off, for example, to need to worry about that. He's got good passing and vision, and he's got good enough, like, long shots of finishing and composure. They're not great, obviously, but they're good enough that you're not scared that he's going to shoot. It's got good dribbling and control for the... I think this is more if we want to sort of passing, like laying it around system. I'm alright maybe with paying $1 million for this guy. It's a little bit pricey, but yeah, I'm maybe okay with that. This guy, yeah, we just don't need the strikers. And he's too expensive. And yeah, this guy, I don't know, maybe. Unlike these 21-year-old midfielders, it's a pretty similar situation where probably this guy will not end up good enough for our seniors in the end, but we do get to use him in our youth team for, you know, this season and 2 more, and he is a bit cheaper, so we can go check out his training option, and he's got good gap there between there and ceiling, and some good options to increase, and his speed isn't, or his tackling, they're not capped out just yet. So now I say capped out, it's soft caps, all of this stuff, by the way. So just because even if it's 2 zeros, it doesn't mean it will doesn't necessarily mean it will never increase either. So, but it's all just guides, you know. So indicators and things just to help make decisions. It's not definitive like that. A good chance we'll just pick that guy up, especially if our youth team doesn't have a left back that's any good. Alright, not wingers. We did say if we were to buy a striker, it would have to be one that could play in our youth team. This guy could for sure like do a job. I think he's quite nice. Like, he's okay. We'd be fine with running this guy. No qualms about it at all. The only reservation I've got a bit is just that price. It's quite a bit to pay for a player unless we felt like he could make it for the senior team. I'm just going to check his options. So he's dribbling. That's not a good sign. But there's a bit of growth there. It's also 69 there, so there's quite a bit of growth still. So we can maybe get him. Thing is, there's only so many... yeah, so we maybe get him. Not bothered. Not bothered. Not bothered. Probably not bothered. Not bothered. Not bothered. Winger. Maybe. Maybe. I have to check our youth keeper. We really don't know what our youth team even needs, so we haven't looked at it yet. Maybe. He's very cheap. Maybe that guy. Maybe that guy. And he's got this nice thing. This is not too dissimilar to our trialist, yeah, but obviously the difference with our trialist is that he's 15, so already like we've got a that was quite a good pickup. Let's say that trialist. I think no for that guy. Probably if we're going to get one of these two 18-year-old fullbacks, we will pay the extra to get the other guy, unless we don't have the extra. This guy, I think, quite interesting because he is 16 and he's got some good stuff, but some really bad stuff. It's quite let's just look. So he does get the +5 speed, so that is disastrously low speed, but over time that may end up being 30 or something, so not totally disastrously slow. Don't know how I feel about that. I think for now we probably would just we'll have to check the youth team after. I'm not sure about that. Let's check this guy's options. So, yeah, not sure about that. I mean, these are the types of players I'm very much expecting that our graduates will be better than these players even after they get their training options this season. But we can't wait forever for everything. This guy, let's check his. Okay, so there's some interesting stuff here. So maybe this guy. There's some maybes. And winger. So yeah, unfortunately he is the only one that's not super slow. But whatever, the winger. So, quite a bit to unpack there. I think I should have made some notes, but I think from memory it was this guy. No, it was this guy. Yeah, so that guy was the maybe. Then he was the only centre half that we were really considering. I think we're just going to get him, to be honest, so we can start constructing some tactics. It's just going to help quite a bit. So let's just pick him up. I think this guy was just a bit too expensive. We don't really want to blow that million, and a bit old. Yeah. This guy, yeah, I'm alright. I feel like we can do things with this player, but yeah, shame. This is guy. We're definitely just going to grab this guy as well. And yep, that was the. Oh gosh, going back through quickly, should have made some handwritten notes maybe. Be a bit easier going forwards. There'll be. For now, we're just not really familiar with anything too much. I felt like this guy. I don't know. This is a weird one for me. It's so dependent on really specific type of tactic. Yeah, it's a weird one. And this guy, he's a bit expensive as well, but kind of like the look of him, so we had that guy. Alright, one thing I'm going to quickly check is how much money we actually got, because that matters at this point. We don't have a... let's reload that one up. Right. So we don't actually have loads. This is a constraint here. We do have because a lot of these players we're looking at like around 1 million or whatever. So we definitely won't be able to get all of them. Like if we get that defender, like that's it. For example, pretty much. I'm gonna just go to my youth squad. So they have this right back that we don't really want to use. So there's that pair of fullbacks that we could get, and if we get that pair of fullbacks, and they've got this super slow striker who is got okay goal scoring attributes. And yeah, I mean, our youth team is obviously going to be playing. Our youth team needs a lot of stuff, but for now, I think we're just going to nab that pair of fullbacks. I think one of them was this guy from memory. Alright, it's going to be easier at this point to sort by position, I think. So, right, one of them was this guy. Okay, so that is 337. We will definitely. I do need to make a decision about any of these more expensive players. I'm going to go by the buy price now. I am curious about this AMC. I think. Because I want him for that role, and I would rather repivot the back line to be a flat back 4, I think, and a DMC. So I think I'd rather this look like this. Let's just start constructing this tactic a little bit. So we won't run him. We will have 2 fullbacks. I think we're okay with running. We bought this new centre half. This. I'm just going to remove one of. Right now, I've got all these. I'm just going to remove all these youth players from my senior squad. Just to make it a bit easier for us to sort of remember to sort this out. Okay, so I think that's a little bit easier to unpack now. So this was the guy that we bought, and okay, I mean, I do think that is a legitimate question at the moment for us. Like, I don't think there are any fullbacks in the scouting pool. No, so there is that guy who was awesome, but he's too expensive. It was him for our youth team. So we could get some, but none that we're sort of happy to roll with. I think from the right backs, this guy's fine. Yeah. So I think we're okay. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to stop this video. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time just working out exactly what we want to do with our tactic, exactly if we're going to buy any more players here, exactly who, because we don't have, there's quite a few we're interested in, but we have a limited amount of money, so we just want to make sure that we pick the right few up. I'll work all that out. We'll stop this video for now. I'll work it all out, then we'll start the next one, and then we will say what was decided. Okay, thanks.